Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate. The Songo Ndoavata ni Leweni Vanua Party has finally broken its silence on the controversial submissions to the Constitutional Commission, which continue to draw widespread criticism. Media liaison officer Mesake Koroi has denied outright that the documents calling for a Christian state and for communal seats came from the SDL. However, as Vosita Kotewasawasa reports, the SDL again fell short on taking a position on the controversial submissions.
There's been a lot of back and forth on whether these submissions did in fact come from the SDL.
Well, it's unfortunate that people are reading into it as that's the official SDL party submission. I can assure you that that is not the case.
Koroi admits Party President Solomoni Naivalu was in the room when the Constitutional Commission was told that Fiji should be a Christian state. Only the Itoke should be called Fijian. Itoke should be the national language and that communal seats should be retained. He says the former SDL minister was there just an observer and not to give backing to those who made the comments. We pressed the SDL spokesman to make a stand for or against those submissions.
Again, that does not mean to say that that is the SDL party submission. I can assure you that the SDL party's submission is still being worked at. It's still being collated.
And there's another bombshell. The SDL says it's liaising with its political partners, the Fiji Labour Party, the National Federation Party, and the United People's Party, to work on a submission that will be presented in October.
The party belongs to the people. And whatever the people want, the members of the party want, that will be reflected in our submission. Likewise, I suppose we can also expect a few surprises. But we have maintained all along that the 1997 Constitution is still supreme, and that's that.
The SDL, ousted from power in 2006, says it will come before the Constitutional Commission in about 3 weeks. Right now, they are collating this submission, and whether it's similar to what has been said by the so-called party supporters, only time will tell. Vosita Kotewasawasa, FBC News.
And behind the scenes of the controversy surrounding the submissions to the Commission last week, political partners of the SDL continue to hold discussions. FLP leader Mahendra Chaudhry finally broke his silence and spoke to FBC News. But, just like the SDL hierarchy and other usual political commentators, he is still keeping mum on whether or not he agrees with the controversial submissions. In an extremely interesting and historical twist, politicians that couldn't bear the sight of each other are now dropping any facade of party principles and have entered into a marriage of convenience, which was confirmed by the former bitter rivals, all for the sake of political expediency.
Well, there are not only SDL party, there is NFP, there is the UPP, there is Labour, there is SDL. All these parties are holding discussions on the constitutional process, particularly whether the process is credible and legitimate the way it is being driven.
Political parties have been demonized by the authorities. That is, they are bad. There's, the worst of the worst, which is, far from the truth. Cooperation is very much part and parcel of democratic processes and constitutional process, and that's exactly what we are doing.
We are having ongoing discussions, and we'll continue to do that, and addressing all of the issues that we feel need addressing.
Meanwhile, the Fiji Women's Crisis Centre has taken a similar stand to Chaudhry and Beddoes, saying that people shouldn't comment on the submissions. Coordinator Shamima Ali says everyone has a right to put their views forward, and commenting on submissions can deter others from speaking freely. She adds, for people who want to use this process, they should view it as an opportunity to map out a future for Fiji with the making of a new constitution. The FWCC says it's imperative that past mistakes aren't repeated and that the rule of law, human rights and democracy must be respected.